2021, YouTuber Matt Field spent the night in a dark cave in the middle of nowhere in Australia after his told him about an unsettling experience he had in that cave and dared him to spend the night there alone. Matt's channel is a bit more extreme than other outdoor exploration channels, and his videos often feature him leaving civilization behind and going to remote locations for days, living only off the fish he catches and the animals he hunts in the video. He mentions that he didn't bring any water to the trip, hoping to find water to drink in the cave. After about 4 hours of walking, he finally finds the cave and climbs down the man-made ladder inside. Venturing deeper inside the cave, Matt crawls into the different holes he finds to see if any of them lead anywhere around. This time he started hearing a couple of rocks falling near the entrance and the sound of some sort of animal walking around. At one point in the video, he mentions he feels like he's being watched, and things get a little more disturbing at around 11 p.m. when he begins to eat his baked beans for dinner.
That is beautiful. Baked beans in a haunted cave. Oh my God. That was the sound. That is the sound. Did you hear that? Look at my arms. I got full goosebumps. It's the chains moving when I climb down the ladder. It's a big, heavy, thick chain. Wind can't move that. Holy.
When Matt recorded this video, it wasn't a windy night at all, and the fact that the chain is moving can only mean that there's someone or something down there with him.
That chain moved just then. It is 100% now. I heard it before. I'm 100% certain it's the chain that I walked in, that you climbed down into this cave on. It's moving. Now, you can't move that chain with wind. It's way too heavy. There is no wind coming in here. There's no wind even fork up. Holy. Oh my God. You must have heard that just then. Look at my arms, dude. Oh, this is fucked. Okay. Well, I've got my backpack back on and I'm booting on out of here. I just heard a sound. It's not normal. It's definitely not a normal sound and I'm scared. I'm not gonna lie. It's probably about 2 hours, 2.5 hours after I checked in with you guys, so it would be around 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, and that sound was not normal. I'm getting out of here.
After the creepy noises subsided, he changes his mind about leaving the cave and decides to spend the rest of the night near the entrance. A couple of hours later, he reported hearing hissing sounds that sounded like human voices, but after walking around the cave, he couldn't find anything that could be making those noises, aside from big animals. The worst thing that could have happened to Matt is to have come across a hostile squad living in the cave, although it's unclear why anyone would want to live down there. Fortunately, he made his way out of the cave safely as soon as the sun rose and never went back to that cave again. When popular YouTuber CJ Fawn decided to spend a night alone in the notoriously haunted Pocock Forest, he had no idea just how terrifying his adventure would become. Pocock Forest spans over 18,000 acres and is infamous for its gruesome urban legends as night falls. CJ sets up his camp and begins to explore the darkened forest. Suddenly, he spots a light in the distance. As CJ watches it, becomes clear that it's another person walking through the woods, not knowing if the person is friendly and already having heard gunshots. CJ decides to hide in the dark and wait. It's 1:30 a.m. and the mysterious figure continues to move through the forest, determined to find out if any spirits are present. CJ uses a spirit box. Suddenly, in an extremely horrific manner, something smashes into the side of the tent and CJ's fear reaches a fever pitch. Look, has something evil haunted this woods?
Has something evil haunted this woods? I don't know what that said.
But here is where things become even worse, because as dawn breaks, he hears something lurking just outside the tent, silently stalking him. The footsteps rustling through the leaves send chills down his spine. The next morning, CJ hikes out of the woods, relieved that the long night is finally over. Gary and Amika are a father-daughter duo from Scotland who make videos about their travels around Europe in their camper van. The videos are usually pretty wholesome and entertaining, but in this particular video, Gary and Amika had a pretty disturbing encounter. This footage was uploaded in March of 2023 during a trip to Tens Mere Forest in North Five, Scotland. As they were walking through the woods, Amika told her dad she heard voices somewhere near them. And after searching for a while, this is what they found.
We just stopped and had a look in these woods. Look at how scary that is. Put the torch on. Here's even one on the ladders.
Oh, there's someone lying on the ground. Without
Falling over. Look at the one on the ladders going up the tree.
Oh yeah, that's creepy.
What about the washing line over there to the left? Yeah, there. Keep it there. That is weird, isn't it?
One over there that isn't actually a person. There's a doggy there.
In addition to dozens of creepy mannequins dressed up in costumes, they came across some pretty unsettling paintings hanging outside the little cabin. In the middle of the woods, I did some research and found several other channels that featured the strange cabin, but the only information I could find was that the mannequins and paintings were probably sent up there at some point in 2021. It's unknown what exactly the purpose of all this is, but whoever set it up clearly went through a lot of trouble. To make it as creepy as possible, as Gary and Amika make their way out of the woods, a car starts to approach them from the other side, and Gary starts to get a little freaked out. Fortunately, they were able to make it back to the van without having to cross the car's path. As of this video upload, there have been no further updates. On the creepy discovery, when you go camping, you might expect to catch a glimpse of a squirrel or maybe even a bear. However, if this strange video posted to Dailymotion by user Neil017 is to be believed, there might be more than just animals hiding among the trees. The footage was supposedly captured by a group of friends in FZ, France. It's dark out, so they stand close to a roaring bonfire, enjoying each other's company. Laughter and playful banter fill the air as they chat and share stories. Suddenly, their fun comes to an abrupt halt. Now watch how a member of the group notices something strange moving in the darkness, just beyond the trees.
Vous avez vu un truc encore bouger?
Bon, toi là.
Il y a un truc là-bas?
Il y a un truc derrière là.
Minou, 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 j'ai trouvé ta mère.
Putain!
Putain. Il est mignon le chat.
Ouais, il est un peu gros chat, j'aime pas ça. Je vais me barrer.
Naturally, they toss a lit torch in the direction of the movement, hoping to get a better look at whatever is lurking in the shadows. The flickering light illuminates the forest, and then look very closely at how a small creature with gray skin peeks out from behind a tree. It appears to have large, dark eyes and long fingers that slowly reach toward the burning torch.
Oh, non?
Vaillant.
I Love Sundays is a channel run by a man named Sean who uploads videos of his solo camping adventures in the UK. In a video he uploaded in September 2022, he shows what happened one night when he camped on the side of the road in Cornwall. Technically, he wasn't supposed to be camping there due to parking regulations, so he made every effort possible to make it seem less obvious that he would be spending the night on the side of the road. Before the sun sets, he goes into his van and starts making dinner, making as little noise as possible to avoid unwanted attention at around 9 p.m. He turns off the lights and goes to bed. Everything seems to be going just fine, but at around 2 a.m., Sean's night takes a pretty unsettling turn.
I just heard something outside. Okay, I think they've gone. They literally tried to get in the van. It wasn't just a knocking, they were trying the handle.
It's not uncommon for solo campers to be asked to move somewhere else in the middle of the night, especially when you park somewhere where you're not supposed to be. But in this case, it's highly unlikely that this was a police officer or some other person with the authority to tell them to move, as in these cases, they would almost always knock first and announce themselves verbally. Once they have your attention, they'll ask you to leave, but they won't just walk up to a van on the side of the road and start trying the door handle without announcing their intentions. It's much more likely that someone was trying to break into Sean's van. Luckily, whoever was trying to break in left after only a few seconds, and Sean wasn't bothered by them again. These kinds of encounters can be extremely disturbing, but luckily Sean woke up the next morning unharmed and was on his way to his next destination shortly after. On the popular YouTube channel Project, Amber CJ and his partner Emma are known for their adventurous spirit, but in 2018 their French countryside escapade turned into something out of a horror movie. Driving through a stretch of rural France in their converted ambulance, CJ decides to pull over for the night to fix a malfunctioning camper fridge. In the midst of filming, his dog begins to act agitated with his attention fixed on a point down the trail. There, hidden in the underbrush, lies an old abandoned well with a heavy metal cover. Later that night, CJ records an Instagram update, his voice trembling with unease.
Okay, I'm just seriously freaked out now. A minute ago I could hear like really loud moaning, like just booming across the mountains. So I've come down to where I could hear it. I got to this old well and it stopped. I mean, that thing's wild freaky. It's like something out of The Ring. But just as soon as I got here, just from over there's no track or anything, it's just wood. This girl appeared, dressed like kind of like a monk, no shoes, no hair. So I said bonjour and that, and she responded. I asked if she was okay, but she didn't respond then. She just carried on walking. So I carried on a bit and then thought I better double check. Went to go and find her again. She's gone. So up that way, that's where my van is, and that goes to the road. But down where she went that way, there's nothing, and there's nothing for miles.
But the terror doesn't end there, because now CJ manages to capture a fleeting glimpse of the woman on camera. Freaked out and feeling a deep sense of unease, CJ decides to cut the night short.